Well, this story needs to be talked about. A Quebec mom says her 13-year-old daughter has been badly bullied at school simply because she is Black. She claims their school and its service center in Saint-Hyacinthe have not done enough to stop it. And so she decided to go public and share her daughter's story. This was a press conference that was held yesterday with the anti-racism lobby group, the Red Coalition. Now, I saw clips on the news. It was frankly heartbreaking to see the mom just completely in tears over the way that her daughter has been treated. And I know I have to say allegedly here, but those tears were very real. Alain BABINEAU is Director of Racial Profiling and Public Safety at the Red Coalition, and he joins us now. Thanks for your time today, Alain.
Thank you very much for having me, Natasha.
Tell us what you can about this situation. The mom says the nature of this bullying is very clearly racist.
Well, absolutely. I mean, and what's shocking here is that this is a situation that's been happening since November. The mother did not know or was never contacted by the school when the incident began occurring at school. And coincidentally, she started noticing that her child was being distant. She's crying a lot. And then all of a sudden she started noticing marks on her arms. And then she started questioning the child as to what was happening. And that's when she realized that the child had been cutting herself, self-mutilation, resulting from the type of bullying that she says had been happening since November.
And the school had done nothing.
Well, no, the school actually was aware of the situation and decided to take it upon itself to have a session with the child, unbeknownst to the family, completely unbeknownst to the mother, who's never contacted, and clearly the bullying didn't cease. And so when the mother was called in by the school, by the way, in about 3 weeks ago, because the child's grades were slipping, that's when the mother confronted the school about, she was told by her child that there'd been some racial harassment taking place. That's when the school admitted that they were aware of the situation since November.
Have you ever seen anything like this before, Alain, where the school didn't think that they should be contacting the parent immediately and holding a meeting with the child without the parents knowing?
No, this is quite, this is the first that we hear of it. But in talking with one of our associates, who's a social worker, and the lady informed us that the social worker informed us that she had been called in for intervention on a similar case in Saint-Hyacinthe, same school, a few years ago, where a young African child was being mercilessly bullied, and the school didn't tell the parents until the child retaliated and engaged in a physical confrontation against his harassers. And so there's precedence here in that particular school.
Very worrisome, and that they would allow, if they had never dealt with it before, which is in itself impossible to believe, but nonetheless, they clearly have dealt with it before, and they didn't do better the next time that it was happening. That speaks to a larger problem. Again, that speaks to a systemic problem. We're talking about pretty severe bullying here.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, no, I mean, I'm reticent, but I just feel like people need to know we're not talking about, kind of harmless teasing, or we're talking about the N-word. We're talking about following, harassment.
Exactly.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, which really, turned the child from a successful. I mean, she's in an advanced program in that school, by the way, and it's a secondary one. So she came from elementary school into a secondary program, and which it's an international program, believe it or not, where they professed wanting the development, of the child and all of the right things, but clearly when it comes to dealing with racism, because this is the case, this is a situation that we're dealing with here, and the question needs to be asked: had that child been sexually molested since November, would the school have chosen appropriate to keep the parents in the dark and try to deal with the situation alone or by themselves?
I mean, Alain, I hate to say it, but given what happened with the Eastern Township situation and sexual abuse there, who knows, right? The bottom line is that these children have been failed, and we need to do better. And so we're speaking with Alain BABINEAU from the Red Coalition. What should happen next? What are you calling on to have happen next?
Well, we've sent out letters on behalf of the parents. We've been given the mandate to accompany the parents, because she's a single mother. We asked the school for a meeting. Okay, we want to understand exactly what was done, and we want to understand how we can help to make sure that this never happens again. Not only to this child, but to any other racialized child attending that school. That's number one. Number two, we're calling on the government we understand that the government has put in place a anti-bullying and violence in the school system program and pumped all kinds of money into it. But it seems as though the racial component, the anti-racism component of that program has been completely left out of the equation here. And so we're calling on the Minister of Education to revisit that program, and we're calling on the Minister of Anti-Racism to begin doing the job for which he's been elected, or the portfolio for which he's been assigned, and to get involved. This is serious stuff. I mean, this is unbelievable stuff, actually.
Well, I'll tell you what's also unbelievable is we have a government who continues to deny that systemic racism exists. So how much faith, how much hope do you have, Alain, that anything will truly come of this, that they will take it seriously when they refuse to exist? There's a problem. Refuse to admit, sorry.
Oh, how much faith? I'm a faith man, but at the same time, we need to see evidence that there's efforts. I don't care whether they call it systemic or institutional, but they need to tackle the issue very firmly. And they've elected, or they put in place someone with a portfolio of tackling racism. And he needs to step up to the plate and do the job for which he's been assigned.
No response from them thus far?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
So, but by the way, this is not a unique situation. We've been dealing with different school boards in the Greater Montreal area, and some school boards, namely the Lester B. Pearson School Board, has been coming to the table, and we've engaged in productive conversations with them. So, you know what? Reasonable people will do reasonable things when there's a sense of urgency that's been put to them. So we're happy, but this school board, this particular school needs to be reined in.
Needs to step up. At the very least, we need a task force. In the meantime, what kind of support are the mom and the child getting, Alain? Do we have a sense of that?
Well, I know there's been some counseling that the mother has undertaken, and of course, the family doctor has been also involved. But we also have within the coalition alliance with social workers, and I've contacted a social worker that's used to dealing with these kind of issues, and she's been in contact with the mother. So we're going to be with the family, well beyond the press conference, and we'll be with them the whole way through.
I'm very glad to hear that. I'm sure our listeners are too. Thank you so much for your time, as always, Alain.
Thank you very much for having me.